let's move away from there now to talk about transfers and the latest, which, of course, with a Nigerian player, is Victor Osimhen, who made that 75 million euros transfer from Napoli to Galatasaray, although it has sparked debate with critics questioning the Nigerian striker's decision to leave Serie A to speak. However, the move signals a major shift in football dynamics, and Galatasaray, long viewed as a destination for fading stars, has secured a proven Serie A champion and Champions League performer. Osimhen entering his pride brings not just goals, but global branding power, especially in Africa. The deal includes 1 million euros in wages and 5 million euros in image rights, underlining his off-pitch value. For Galatasaray supporters, this is not just a signing, it's a movement, one that positions the club at the forefront of modern football influence. Now, joining us to talk about his transfer is a Turkish football coach, Koray Palaz, joins us this afternoon. Thank you very much for joining.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
All right, from a coaching perspective, how would you assess the impact of Victor Osimhen joining a club like Galatasaray at this stage in his career, considering he was once in Galatasaray on loan and he has decided to make the move permanent?
I mean, come the end of this, what we saw is Victor Osimhen's contribution to Galatasaray's championship in Turkey was remarkable. He's had a great season. He bonded really, really well with the club, with the fans, with his teammates. I think it was towards the end of the season when we done a program together, and I specifically pointed out that Osimhen could join Galatasaray on a permanent basis, simply because, you know, if a player is happy where he is, you know, there's only one factor. I mean, obviously, financially, Gala has always been in that power. And, you know, with the other big clubs in Istanbul, you know, they've got the power to actually pay the salaries. But the transfer fee was the biggest question mark. And, you know, Galatasaray have come up with a deal and they've managed to pay this fee, which is the biggest in Turkish football. And I think, but what we all need to understand is ultimately, first, the player was happy, he was loved, he was respected, and he put a great performance in. And what a signing for Gala, you know, and on the field, he brings so much quality to the team. And, you know, the fact that they'll be competing in the Champions League, I think that's also a major factor in his decision-making.
All right, you've talked about the factor in his decision-making. I'd like to ask what impact would this transfer mean for not just Galatasaray, Osimhen, who is considered as one of Africa's early strikers. Some have said over time that if you're the best player in Africa or one of the best strikers in Africa, you should be able to play for you know, maybe the top 3 leagues in Europe. But Galatasaray, with no disrespect, they're one of the top teams in Europe and in Turkey. What impact do you think this transfer will make for Osimhen as a player and for Galatasaray?
I think you've got to look at the bigger picture. Turkish football has been in the rise for a number of years, especially in the recent few years. If you look at the national team, if you look at the caliber of the clubs, you know, obviously it's not easy to compete against the, you know, the major leagues like England, like Spain, like some of the German clubs. You know, I understand that Victor Osimhen could easily walk into any of these clubs in any of these countries. However, I think from Victor's side point of view, he was happy here. You know, you could see in his game, he lives a quality of life here, and he's built a strong bond to fans and strong bond with the club. And, you know, he's already gone down in the history as one of the best strikers that's arrived in Turkey. This is the player's point of view. In terms of the club's point of view, I think this just goes to show how much Galatasaray wants to be, you know, wants to become a main competitor in the Champions League. And, you know, they've got aims. They want to make it to the quarterfinals. They want to make it to the semi-finals. I think it'd be unrealistic to say that, you know, they will be competing to win the Champions League, because that's never easy. However, what they've done here is, you know, they brought in Leroy Sané from Bayern München, and now they brought in Victor Osimhen. So that just goes to show you from club's point of view how much they want to compete in the Champions League and the success that could come along with it. And obviously with success comes financial values. And from looking at it from both angles, I think it's a win-win for both parties.
Right, I must say a big thank you to you, Koray Palaz, for your quality time. We look forward to having you join us some other time. But for us, the very best of football conversation from Turkey. Thank you very much.
Thank you.